Hands up if you're obsessed with reality TV. Go on. No judgment here. I've been watching Survivor since I was 6 years old. Even if you don't spend your weekends binge watching Love Island, you've probably done a bit of people watching in a cafe or on the bus. This is more than just a pastime. It's a phenomenon called social curiosity, and turns out we're not the only ones who are nosy about what's going on in others' lives. There's evidence to support the idea that people watching is older than people, as in some of our closest relatives do it too. And that may help us understand how human social behavior evolved in the first place. Humans are social animals, and not just in a social media kind of way. The very way we live, divide up work, care for each other, and share knowledge all relies on us being social. But for all this to function, we need to understand the rules of this complex social system and change our behavior when the system changes. Like, it's perfectly acceptable to be shouting at an AFC Wimbledon game, but not so much in a library. Or you might travel to a different country and notice the norms there are different to what you're used to at home. So what better way to learn those social rules than by watching what other people are doing? Paying attention to how others behave allows us to gather a bunch of information. Yes, about the rules of the group, but also about who's a good friend or future partner, as well as who might be a threat and worth staying away from. Scoping out how others are acting even has the added benefit that maybe we'll see them doing something clever that we can copy, or something not so smart that we can avoid. That's social curiosity in a nutshell. But for a behavior that's so widespread, we don't understand it as well as you might think, like whether social animals people watch too. There's lots of evidence that all kinds of primates, from ringtail lemurs, macaques and capuchins, to orangutans, gorillas, and chimpanzees, are curious creatures. But most, if not all, of the evidence researchers have gathered has to do with primates seeking out information about the physical environment, like, say, opening a tube to see if there's food or something hidden inside. Scientists also know that human infants are naturally curious and will go explore new areas or objects. That curiosity is key to helping them learn about how the world works, which any parent who's tried to child-proof their home could have told you for free. But what researchers don't know much about is whether young humans and other primates are socially curious too. It makes sense that they might be, since human adults are, and that curiosity has to come from somewhere, whether it grew on the evolutionary tree or happens as we mature. One of the first studies to see whether other primates might be curious about their friends was in 2022, looking at rhesus macaques. Quick note though, this study hasn't been through the peer review process and we couldn't figure out exactly why not, but it's only available on a preprint server. In this study, researchers trained monkeys to look at a screen and tap a button if they wanted to know about the size of a juice reward that was coming up. And would you know it, they did. Then the scenario changed. Now monkeys could tap the button if they wanted to know about how a friend monkey was feeling. In this scenario, the monkeys would see a picture of another monkey that either looked threatening or neutral, and they'd still get a juice reward afterwards, although it was always the same amount. In that scenario, the macaques wanted to know what the face would be almost all the time. There was also a scenario where the monkeys didn't get any information beforehand about what the face would be like. In those cases, they looked at the face for longer when it did appear, which made the researchers think that the animals were trying to take in all of the social information. Basically, the macaques liked getting social information as much as other kinds of information. And there's more we'll get into, but first, all science needs funding, so here's a quick break. If you made it this far into a SciShow video, you're probably the kind of person who loves engaging with new ideas and learning outside of a classroom. And that's what makes Brilliant so great too. Brilliant can show you how to code in Python with their Thinking in Python course. It's a great course if you're a beginner to programming or if you just want a refresher of core concepts. After all, Brilliant is made for everyone from age 10 to 110. To learn for free on Brilliant for a full 30 days, go to brilliant.org/SciShow, scan the QR code on screen, or click on the link in the description. They're also giving you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant with 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thank you to Brilliant for supporting this SciShow video. In a 2025 paper, scientists created a series of experiments to see how human children between 4 and 6 years old, as well as adult chimps, might show social curiosity. The researchers wanted to include kids here because, they argue, the main driver for a child's curiosity is to gather information, just like the chimps. The experiments used these things called curiosity boxes, 2 boxes, each with a tablet inside, where the chimp or child could choose a video to watch. In the first experiment, the subjects could watch members of their own species either by themselves or behaving in a group. Researchers saw that both children and the apes were more interested in watching the group videos. This confirmed for the researchers that both were socially curious. Good start. But it also might be that chimps and children want to get as much information as possible, and a video with multiple actors interacting will have more information than a video with just one. So in a second experiment, subjects could either watch a video of a social interaction or get a reward. A tasty jackfruit seed for the chimps or a shiny marble for the kids. And both the kids and the chimps spent more time with the video box than the reward box. Basically, they were willing to pay a cost by giving up the reward to see a social interaction. In particular, it was the younger children and male chimps that were more interested in the videos. Maybe, the researchers thought, because social information is even more important for those groups, or even more rewarding. But there were a few complicating factors. Maybe the video box was just more enticing. After all, they could hear the sounds coming from the box. Male chimps might be super drawn to those sounds, since they tend to start most conflicts and are likely tuned to the sound of fighting. And again, if you know kids, you'll know how drawn they can be to a screen. The researchers didn't say anything specifically about this, but they did say that children might be more familiar with them. Finally, the researchers wanted to know what kind of social information chimps and children might be curious about. In this third experiment, the curiosity boxes either had a video of a negative interaction, like fighting or a child getting yelled at, or a positive social interaction, like playing or grooming. The team replaced the original audio with ambient forest sounds so that no one would come running at the sound of conflict. Chimps explored both videos for about the same amount of time. Meanwhile, older human boys preferred the negative interactions, while girls preferred the positive ones. The researchers partially chalked this up to how boys and girls have historically been socialized, saying that boys might be pushed to be part of competitive and physical conflicts. Which, might change as our ways of socializing our kids change too. Now, there are limitations to this one study. Watching videos is not a very natural scenario, even for young kids, so it might be a good idea to do similar experiments watching live interactions too. But at the very least, this evidence shows us that we're not alone in people watching. It's likely that our ultra-social tendencies have been evolving for a very long time, and show up in our closest living relatives. We soak in that information, and we gain evolutionary benefits from living in a group. Which probably means our primate ancestor living some 5 to 8 million years ago was doing the ancient equivalent of watching reality TV. And that helped make us the social creatures we are today. So it's totally fine if you want to binge the entire first season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We've been doing it forever anyway.